What is up, guys? Back to break down game week 4 of the EPL. Got the international break over with. I think there's one again in a month or two. We got Champions League starting this week. So the club season is back in full swing for sure. Going to be a fun weekend. We got obviously the showdowns sandwiching the main slate tomorrow, 7:30 a.m. showdown, and then the main slate at 10 o'clock, which is a 6-gamer this week. Always fun when we get more games and all starting at once, especially. And then we got the 12:30 showdown as well for EPL. If you have not joined us over at Patreon, be sure to do that. The link is below, and I can drop it in the chat as well. It's $10 if you do a single sport. $20 for all sports. We got a massive weekend on tap, not just EPL. We got college football going on tonight. Then we got college football tomorrow. We're covering every slate for that. All the sheets are already up. The main slate at 12 o'clock, the night slate at 7, and then the late night slate at 10 or 10:30 Eastern time when that starts. Also, we have an early NASCAR week tomorrow. The Cup Series is in Richmond, and they are racing tomorrow night. And then the finisher for the weekend, we got week 1 NFL. Chris has already got the sheet up for that as well. Looking forward to a big NFL season with Chris. He crushes every slate. I think he really focused on cash games and single entry last year and absolutely smashed over the course of the year. So looking forward to that on Sunday to cap off a nice weekend. But without further ado, let's get into the EPL slate for tomorrow. It's going to be a fun one. We actually get the return of Ronaldo. So Chris, if you are watching, your squad is bringing back Ronaldo tomorrow. Should be starting for Man U alongside Bruno Fernandes, Mason Greenwood. Going to be a fun one. We'll get to that game in a bit. I'm going to go through the order of the sheet here, but that is the biggest favorite on the slate, Manchester United. But first up, we got Arsenal and Norwich. Arsenal is one of the bigger favorites on the slate as well. They have looked horrid this year, 3 losses in the first 3 games, not scored a goal, 9 goals against them. But they get an awesome matchup here at home against Norwich. So we got to find something here because there should be some goodness on the Arsenal side. Their set pieces are a little murky tomorrow with this projected lineup. Pepe has been taking most of the set pieces. As you can see, Saka has taken but we got Odegaard, who's looking to be back in the starting lineup. So he could take as well as we saw last year. So it's a little murky, and it makes it tough for me to pay up $8,700 for Pepe. My favorites would be the open play guys. Bukayo Saka would be my favorite play, along with Kian Tierney, who has been getting forward and crossing a lot, and he's in this good of a matchup tomorrow against Norwich. Odegaard and Aubameyang or Lacazette, whoever's starting up front there, are also good plays in this type of matchup for Arsenal at minus 205. On the other side, Norwich, Milot Rashica has some good open play. We've played him before this year, 5,000. I don't know if we need that for the second forward tomorrow. We'll see as we get to building, but you can play him. And then Billy Gilmore is 3,000. I think that is an option as well at min price for a midfielder against Arsenal, who, like we've talked about, has struggled, even if Norwich is massive dogs here. Moving on, Brighton and Brentford. Brentford at home. It's basically a toss-up, plus 175, plus 180 on both of these teams here, and a 2 total. So this is really a game I don't want much of a part of. If I had to pick one spot, it would probably be Pascal Gross, who has been taking a monopoly of sets for them, 8,900. Does well in open play. It's not the easiest matchup against Brentford on the road, as we saw Arsenal struggle and lose. I think it was 2-0 in the first game. And Brentford has been pretty good defensively. They gave up 1 goal this year in the first 3. So kind of a game that I want to stay away from it. But if I did lean anybody, it would be Pascal Gross. I don't see taking a GPP shot even on Malpay here. Really no other part of Brighton. And then for Brentford, really the only guys I ever like would be Mbeumo, Sergi Canos, and Ivan Toney. Toney got the goal in the last game week. It was kind of the off the radar goal for him. I just don't think I can go to any of these guys in this big of a slate tomorrow. So pretty easy move on game for me. And we get to some very notable names here: Man City and Leicester. Leicester at home plus 425, Man City on the road minus 16 or 165 favorite in a 2 3/4 total. This is another game that I'm not very enthused about. We're going to get to the teams that I'm majorly targeting. One of them was Arsenal in that first game, but Man City, Kevin De Bruyne is kind of not expected to play the full game, even if he starts. We've seen a lot him not starting and then subbing on later, and that kind of messes up the lineup that's in there and what they have going for them. So really this is only GPP for Man City, even at minus 165 favorites. Leicester's not a pushover team, that's for sure. I think Riyad Mahrez would be my favorite option if I had to pick one for Man City, but really not a team that I want to target. Leicester, I have Kasper Schmeichel as a value goalkeeper. If I'm not going to target City, maybe I go to that other side and play him. Obviously, that could go horribly, as we've seen City go off in spots that are not great before, but I think it's where we're at, and we want a value goalkeeper, I think, tomorrow. I don't think there's enough value in other places. I've mentioned Billy Gilmore, but there's not a ton of value everywhere that makes me want to pay up. So I think I'll be paying down. Right now, I lean Schmeichel. Otherwise, Leicester, not really a team that I want to target against Man City. So another almost stay away game for me. A couple pieces that I'm okay with. Tim, I do not like Man City either. I don't like targeting them at all. It's very annoying most all the time. So moving on, this is the marquee game of the slate, game everybody will be watching. Man United at home, minus 500 favorites against Newcastle. We get the return of Cristiano Ronaldo, projected to start here. If he's there, I don't see how they don't start him after this marquee signing. They're projecting Greenwood, Sancho, Bruno, all in there with him. I think that Ronaldo being there at 9,200 makes Greenwood and Bruno GPP only for sure for me. If he was out, you could definitely play one of them in cash, and I think I would play one of them in cash if Ronaldo did not start. But I think everything I'm seeing is leaning toward him starting. We know what type of a player Ronaldo is, obviously, at this point. Pogba would be a GPP option. Luke Shaw is another, probably the top defender play for me on the slate tomorrow. And those would be the first two that I would be targeting and prioritizing, would be Ronaldo and Luke Shaw. And then if you're full on stacking them for GPPs, you can add one of the other guys. Newcastle, a stay away in this spot for me, for sure. Nobody I'm even considering for Newcastle. The last couple games are the GPP targets as far as a game stack on both sides that I would like to target if I was building multiple lineups, especially. But even in single entry, you could get major leverage on the field by maybe just going one, maybe two pieces from Man U, and then game stacking one of these games. And it starts with West Ham and Southampton. we've seen, West Ham has been scoring goals at will. Michael Antonio has been out of his mind to start the year. He's 10-5. That's a tough price, but not many people, I don't think, will play him outside of stacking West Ham. So I think you can go there. Ben Rama, Fornals, I think, are both good options. We've seen them have a very good start to the year. The set piece situation has really been a mix of Jared Bowen, Aaron Cresswell, Vladimir Kufal. Has even taken some. I think if I had to lean one guy at the defender, it would actually be Kufal over Cresswell, which I would not have thought that I would have said early in the year. But the open play value, I think, is very nice for Kufal. We saw him get that assist to Antonio. It was in open play, 16 crosses there, according to Football Reference on the year. I think that's a very good side for GPPs. And the other side, Southampton, James Ward-Prowse is going to be a very in consideration, even in single entry for me, at the midfield spot at 8,000. And then for GPPs, you can mix in Che Adams and Adam Armstrong for that. So there's a lot of options there for a game stack. It's a 2 3/4 total, close toss-up type game. I think you can go there. That's one option that I really like for GPPs. And then the other one, Watford and Wolves. Watford at home is a dog at plus 235. Wolves plus 130 on the road, and then a favorite, 2 1/4 total. Adama Traore, we have seen him have a massive floor without scoring a goal or assist all year. I think you can go right back to him at 7,800, whether that's cash or GPP. Raul Jimenez, we've talked about it before. They're a nice pairing. Raul has not scored on the year, but he's had quite a few shots, as you can see. I expect them to team up for a goal fairly soon. And then a value defender would be Marsal. Has been doing a ton in open play, and 4,100 is a very nice price for him. Ruben Neves has took sets. Trincao has took sets. You could go to either one of those. I think both are fine options for GPPs. João Moutinho is a guy that I never play, even though he takes sets, and I'm not going to start doing it here. But there's some interesting options, no doubt, for GPPs and even cash and single entry for like Adama Traore and Marsal. On the other side, Ismail Sarr is kind of similar to Traore in that a lot of open play value. I think he would obviously be the top option for Watford. And really, there's not a whole lot else that I would be targeting for Watford. So kind of the GPP route here, I think, would be Adama Traore paired with Raul, and then Sarr coming back on the other side. Or you could just take the entire floor of this game, go Marsal, Traore, Sarr, something like that. I really like that for GPPs as well. So if you have any questions, good to have EPL back. I had a couple good slates in the international break with the European World Cup qualifiers. A couple went really good and a couple went pretty bad, but it was a decent week with the 3 matches that they played. It was fun, but yeah, definitely nice to have EPL back. That's kind of the bread and butter of EPL or of soccer DFS, I would say. Traore underrated, definitely. I know a lot of the talk is that he can't finish goals. I mean, who really cares for us at this point? I mean, I know for GPPs you want him to be scoring, but in cash games, the floor he has provided, and we'll look at his game log too. I know as you can see, the base projection there on the sheet gives him 21, and that is all off of his 3-game rates right now. So, yeah, very underrated. I think he's a very good player, especially for DFS. Hate waking up on Saturday mornings to make EPL lineups, but got to try to make that money. You cannot hate making EPL lineups on Saturday morning. That is not acceptable, Eric. We cannot have that. You got to enjoy it. 9 o'clock lineups coming out, making EPL lineups. I don't know how you could hate hate it. It's a very fun sport, always fun. And now we get the first week. I was on the last EPL video I did. I wasn't looking at the schedule and didn't realize that the international break was last week. So I was thinking that we were going to have the EPL plus college football running up on Saturday morning. We didn't get that last week, but we do get it this week. And this is where we're going to feel that first. If you're playing both sports, you're getting how important it is that all these games are starting at 10 o'clock, whereas last year we had to spread out 3-game slate, that the last game was locking around that time that college football main slate was locking, which was very annoying, especially with all the news we were getting in college football last year. So it's so great that we're getting lineups at 9 o'clock for every game on the slate. It locks at 10. You can't make any changes after 10. And we can hop right into college football. Speaking of college football tomorrow, planning on doing an early show, probably right when EPL locks is kind of the plan right now. Chris, I think, is going to be joining me. It's going to be something we're going to try to do every Saturday morning. Last week's show went pretty well. We had a very good week overall. Hit a parlay. I think it was a 3-game parlay that was like plus 430, plus 440. Nice start to the week there. And DFS went pretty well too. We hit a lot of the value plays. I didn't get everything together in one lineup, unfortunately, so it didn't take anything down. But it was a solid week for sure. Turned the profit, and then the parlay definitely helped there as well. Eric, sleeping till 11 a.m. We got to get you up. It is tougher. Tim will tell you. I know he's on the West Coast, so think about that, waking up and having lineups come out at 6 a.m. and then lock at 7, and then college football at 9 a.m. That would be very tough for me. But I salute Tim for doing so. And I'm going to say it again, Tim, you're always up for the early showdown. Don't let me down this week. You got to be up for that one. And unfortunately, I think that first game, I'll have to check. I think it's Tottenham, which, as you guys know, Spurs are kind of the thorn in my side for figuring these games out. So doesn't make me feel good to wake up early for that. Get back to watching Dirt Late Model. But, hey, we got a big race weekend, like I mentioned early. Tomorrow is going to be an awesome day, capped by some short track cup racing tomorrow night. So going to be a fun one for sure. Oh, no, Spurs are not your team, Tim. Oh, gosh. This is very hurtful. This show, everybody's saying it's tough to make EPL lineups on Saturday mornings, and now KC is liking Spurs. Oh gosh. Oh man. All right, we got to go on to building some lineups. So let me change the screen share over to that really quick. Play around with some builds, and again, this is something that I've not done yet. It's something I've been waiting to do on these shows, because I think it gives you all an idea of how I like to go about the initial building process. So if you look at the sheet, like I said, we're building around Man United for single entry. I think Ronaldo is kind of the first one in, along with Luke Shaw. Both of those are the top 2 plays. And, I might stop my Man U exposure at that. There's a lot of other options that I like in this mid-range. I don't want to pay for single entry anyway, and cash games. I don't want to pay up for Bruno. I don't want to pay up for Greenwood. Pogba, sure, he's probably going to get an assist tomorrow, but nothing he doesn't have the floor that I love for 7,300. So that's a tough. The rest of the team is GPP only. So where does that put me? I think the next thought that you could have is Arsenal. again, I don't love Arsenal, but they are one of the bigger favorites. I think you gotta to prioritize them. Saka is 6,700. He could fill the second forward spot or a midfield. Um, but I think the next two that I want to try to get in and see where it goes from there is Adama Traore and James Ward-Prowse. I want to see what we can do with that with Ronaldo and Shaw. It's not going to be easy to fit that in, but let's see what we can do with Traore. And then in the midfield, we've got James Ward-Prowse. So that leaves 4,700. I think it's very doable. I mentioned some value in the midfield with Norwich, whether it's Rashika or Billy Gilmore. Let's throw in Billy Gilmore in the midfield. That gives you 52. If we go Schmeichel, kind of like I said, this is kind of what I do, just kind of throwing lineups together. Then it's do you want to pay up for that second defender spot? So that would be like a Cresswell, Tierney, Kufal. I think all those are very good plays, and that's going to leave you. Well, Kufal might. What is Saka? Saka's 67. So you couldn't get Saka with that type of build. But if you came down here and played Marsal with, and I think I'm saying that right, I could be butchering it, but that gives you 7,600. You could play a goal dependent, a little more goal dependent Lacazette. If he's starting over Aubameyang, let's see, I don't really like any of these other guys. Vardy would be GPP only. Pogba, like I said, GPP only. You could play him. I just don't think he has the floor that I want. As you can see against Wolves, they only won 1-0, and he didn't get one of the 5 assists that he's had on the year. And he scored 5 DK. Not really what I'm looking for. Armstrong, you could pair him with James Ward-Prowse. He has had a decent start to this year. Coming up from the championship, played 90 in all 3, scored that goal against Everton. Has a decent floor with crosses and shots. So you could go there. Fornals, I think, would be a nice option. Or maybe you drop down to Saka, and then you can come off of, if you want to come off of Schmeichel, you're scared to play that. You could play not really anybody else there to pay up higher that I'm in love with anyway. But it does get you 5,000 for, I kind of mentioned I like both. Raya, I think, would be the best option there if you wanted to increase the salary a little bit. At home against Brighton and what I think could be a 1-0, 0-0 game. I think Raya makes some sense. So that's kind of the route that I'm looking at. If you do pay up at that second midfield spot, where does that leave you? If you play Tierney, and that could be Kufal as well. And then you got 4,100 Schmeichel. That leaves you 6,000. I think that's doable. Trincao, like I had mentioned, I think he's a decent play. Would probably be my favorite there. Albrighton would probably take sets, but not in love with that. Cresswell is a nice play, or you could play even Kufal and Tierney. So I really like this. This would be my core as of now. Would be the Ronaldo, Traore, Prowse, Gilmore, Luke Shaw. Would be kind of the core that I'm looking at right now. If you do not play both of those floor type guys, and I was going to look at Traore's game logs with you all to show just kind of the floor that he's had across the year. 11, and all these are with no goal, no assist. So 11 against Leicester in an 0-1 loss. Tottenham, 17 in an 0-1 loss. And then almost right at 13 against Man U is very good. So that is the floor you're getting with him. And now you get a decent or a pretty good matchup, even though it's on the road against Watford. So the second route that I'll show you for GPPs, if we prioritize Arsenal a little bit more, Well, I think that route would be like a Saka second forward route, which you could do for sure. And then you still could play. Um, let's see. You still could play a Adama Traore there. Um, and then I think if you pay down at the second to Marsal, you got 8,900 for Pascal. Oh man, that's pretty lovely too. A lot of these builds, I'm really liking the way these builds are coming together for me tomorrow. So yeah, really liking that. I said for GPPs, you could try to jam Antonio, try to stack the one of those games. I think that's kind of the route I'm going, but you can see where I'm looking at as far as my core for sure. If there's not any questions, I'm going to go ahead and hop off here, trying to finish up the college football sheet. I'm just doing some audits on that for tomorrow. Just trying to finish that up and get ready for the show in the morning. So good luck to everybody with college football tonight. Good luck with EPL in the morning. I'll have the sheet updated right at 9 o'clock when lineups come out. If you have any questions, be sure to hit me up in the Discord. I'll be there answering those up until lock tomorrow. So hope to see you all on our YouTube channel tomorrow morning for the college football show. Good luck, everybody.